ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Hariet Mwangi. Hariet is the journalist of the house. So if she tries taking over the MC roles today, tell her, no, it is mine. No, that's on a lighter note. Karibu sana, Hariet.
Hello. One of the weirdest things about life that I have never understood is how, at the beginning of our story, we have zero control over what happens to us. It's literally in the hands of our parents and the people who raise us. So mine begins in a village, somewhere in Nakuru County, Egerton sub-county, 40 minutes into civilization. I find myself being raised by a very, very old couple, whom, if you ask me, had no business at all raising a child. Because tell me why. They've been working 40 years, raising 11 children, and here they are with another noisy human being that's so tiny and is always clinging to their trousers because she wants you to go up a tree and get her a ripe guava, or she's seen a grasshopper that she needs you to crawl and catch. I mean, I've always been stubborn. So my grandparents raised me in so much love that I did not realize they were not my parents. I kept calling them what I had other villagers call them because I did not know they were not my parents. Not one day did I feel unloved. And today is a very special day because I get to honor my grandfather who passed away 2 years ago, exactly today. So my village, when I say a village, you will not find it on Google Maps. I mean a village. So every morning at 6 a.m., my grandfather is up. He is going to milk. My grandmother is waking me up because they need to take me to school. This noisy human being that has been crying her lungs out the whole night. She needs to go to school. And my grandfather hops on his Black Mamba bike. Have you ever been on a Black Mamba? There is no better ride, I promise you. A Black Mamba is the best ride you will ever find. And my grandmother is dressing me in layers and layers of clothing that I have never understood. And she's slapping me with layers and layers of Vaseline with the most rough hands. But they are still the most gentle hands I have ever felt on me because there was so much love to give. And off we go to school. 3 kilometers away from home, rainy, muddy, name it. We were off to school every morning. Now, when I say school, you're probably thinking of a structure. Get rid of that image. It's a muddy house. It's a mud house that's 2-roomed. One's the teacher's office, and the other is the classroom where all of 8 of us students shared a room. And in the evening, I'm back home. I meet my grandparents somewhere near a junction because either way, this girl cannot walk back home alone. You have to go get her from school, yeah? And back home, my friends were very much like my grandparents, very old, very tired, with very painful legs and very painful backs, because that was the only community around me. And our friendships dates were very interesting because it was either me bringing milk to them in the morning, and they have prepared for me a very fresh maize comb that's roasted, and I get to enjoy that, the best snack ever. Or I am going to their shamba in the afternoon just to say hi, and they give me fresh carrots from the ground or a piece of sugarcane. Or they had cooked meat last night, and because meat was so rare in our village, they had packed a bit of it, and they would walk all the way from their homesteads and bring it to mine, and it was so much love. I was literally raised by a village, in a village. And so these people taught me well. They taught me love, they taught me God, they taught me community. But it was becoming very apparent to my grandparents that this girl is not going to get any education in this village. She really does need to leave. So they talked to my mom, who was very young at that time, but she's finally a bit more stable and she can at least try and take care of this child that she gave birth to at the age of 23. And off I went to Naivasha. Now, I do not know how to describe the amount of shock I felt. Seeing more than one car on a road. How? I saw a car once a month in my village, once a month, and I could hear it miles away because there was no car and there was no road. So I got to a place where there are tall buildings, there's people everywhere, there are cars everywhere. I mean, I was so shocked. And another thing is that in this town, the girls could actually just wear trousers. Trousers? You're wearing trousers, you're a girl, you're wearing trousers. And they had pleated their hair. Meanwhile, I used to sit on Sunday afternoons and my grandmother would get her razor blade or her makasi and splash her way through my hair. So I was shocked. And my mom tried to help me adapt, but well, she can only do so much. I was still very shocked by everything that was happening around me. And I told her, I also want to plait my hair and I want to pierce my ears and I want to wear a trouser, a jeans trouser. And she did that. And I was like, no, this is not for me. I need my dresses. I need my dresses back. This cannot be me. So off I went to school, or at least at this time, I'm trying to join class 1, primary school. And I went to Milimani Primary School, did the interview, and I told myself, yes, I'm going to primary school. The teachers asked, where are you going? I told them, I'm going to class 1. With what language? My Kikuyu. With what handwriting? I could not even write. With what? Where are you headed, madam? Go back. I said, go back and do something with yourself before you come back and go to primary school. I was like, oh my God. Okay, let's go back. So I went back to nursery school. Imagine, I repeated nursery school. How bad could it possibly be that I repeated nursery school? Anyway, I did. And I went to a school that was just near home. And it's a private school. And the kids there are what we call nowadays school kids. You can imagine the shock and the number of times those children laughed at me because I could not understand either Swahili or English. They were just speaking, I was like, huh? What are you saying? Please speak to me in a language that I understand. And they laughed at me and I was bullied so bad until I promised myself, you know what? I'm really going to learn this alien language that I don't understand. So the only way for me to learn that was either talking to my mom, who knew a bit of English, not a lot of it, but like she could speak English, or TV, because I didn't have a sibling. I was the firstborn. And so TV it was. So we embarked on the mission of understanding this alien language that these people are speaking. And if you grew up in my era, most of you did, at 5 p.m. on KTN, Tyra Banks used to come on. Remember Tyra Banks? So my shows were not like many that children will enjoy. They were not the cartoons, they were not all that. My shows were Tyra Banks, Oprah Winfrey, and Dr. Phil. Yeah, I know, you can say that again. Those were my shows. And I fell in love with what they were doing. I enjoyed those shows more than I had ever enjoyed any cartoon that I had none of in the village. Where did I see cartoons? Anyway, I had none of it in the village. I could only listen to my grandfather's radio, which I could not even attempt to touch. If you dare touch that radio, you're going to face it. But I really enjoyed these shows. They made me so happy. I was very inspired. And I promised myself, you know what? I'm going to become Tyra Banks when I grow up. Yeah, she's tall. I know. She's tall, she's beautiful, and she can walk in 6-inch heels. Yes, I'm going to become Tyra Banks. And she was very happy. I don't know if she was happy, but all I could see was that she kept smiling every time she was there, and she kept laughing. So yeah, I'm going to become Tyra Banks. That's the way to go. So I mean, by the time I was finishing that year, by the way, that I repeated, I was the best student in that school. They did not want to let me go. But I had to leave because my mother cannot pay that school fees for another year. So I joined primary school, Milimani Primary School in Naivasha. Now, I joined this school and we were 100 of us in a classroom. Literally, I mean 100 of us in a very tiny classroom where we shared desks. And my journey began, which were 8 very, very impactful years of my life, because the teachers there saw something in me that, I don't know what they saw, but they kept making me a prefect, a class monitor, a junior teacher. I was always something in that school. By the time I was finishing, I was, I think, a school captain, the school first aider. I was just always something in that school. 8 years of my life. Every morning, going to school, coming back, being brilliant. I was doing fairly well in class. Okay, I was doing well in class. And yeah, I'm done with class 8. So what next? I don't know. I have no answer to that question. I asked my mom, Mom, I'm done with class 8, so what next? She's like, yeah, I also have no answer. So I went to talk to my aunt and I told her, these are my results. This is what I've gotten. I need to go to high school. And she told me, okay, we'll figure it out. We will. Because at this point, my grandparents can only do so much. They are very, very old. And she told me, I'll talk to a few people and then I'll let you know. So she was having in church with one of the EFAC contact teachers in Naivasha Girls, which, by the way, I had gotten an acceptance letter to. And it was very prestigious because it is where I saw 11 girls from the year ahead of me in class 8 go, Kina Margaret Mukundi, and a few others. So she talked to the contact teacher and she told her, I have this girl, this, and this is her story. And she told me, I'll talk to a few people and I'll get back to you. So by the time I was joining Naivasha Girls, I had no idea how my school fees was going to be paid. I had no idea what I'm doing, and quite honestly, I had a lot of anxiety. And I had shifted from the girl who was always something in Milimani Primary School to a very timid, shy, and anxious girl, because it felt like my dreams were shattered. And at this point, they were not as clear as they were when I was younger. I was not sure if I still wanted to be Tyra Banks because life had proved to be a bit more serious than high heels and good dresses. And I joined school, and one afternoon, a teacher came in and called my name, and she told me, thankfully, you have been picked up by EFAC scholarship. And I could not believe it. I remember I ran to the dorm, I wept for hours, it was even class time. I cried and just said, I'm so grateful. I am so very, very grateful. And I'm going to take this chance and I will run with it, because clearly it is the only thing that I have to hold on to. And I went for the first EFAC meeting and I found Margaret Mukundi. And I was like, wait, what? How are you here? Because we were in the same primary school. And she told me, yes, we are in the same scholarship program. So my journey in high school began. This time, I'm not very loud. I am not in many spaces. I'm just very shy and timid and just, doing fairly well in my books and just sticking to the goal. And at this point, that goal shifted in Form 2, and I decided, if the only person in my family who can help me is a medic, I will definitely become a medic. It's the only way out. It can only be the way out. That's it. So I'll become a medic, even though mathematics was kicking my ass so bad. And I promised myself I'll not give up on this mathematics until I become a medic, because it was the only way to leave this poverty. So I started. It was not easy. In Form 2, still mathematics is still doing the same thing. And we went for our workshop at St. George's Girls, if you remember. And one of the sessions, Adele Anyango was a speaker. She's a famous media personality in the country. And she picked me to answer her question one day in the crowd, mainly because I was in a pink hoodie. What was I thinking being in a crowd in a pink hoodie? Of course I would stand out. And of course she would notice me. And she picked me to answer her question, and I did. And she told me, I really love the way you speak. Would you want to be a journalist? And I told her, no. Me? I'm a medic. What do you mean? I'm not doing that thing. That's not my story. And she told me, okay, so still a good dream, but I really love the way you speak. Fate would have it that after Form 4, I had done well, but I had not gotten the grade to become a medic. So Benson called me to the side and he told me, Harriet, but why are you so focused on this medic thing? It's not your thing. I have seen you speak, I have seen you do all these other things. Really, I don't think you should be trying this medicine thing. And I was like, but Benson, it's the only way I see out. It's the only way I see living this poverty and getting out of it. And he was like, no, you can be anything. And for you, I think the way for you is communication. So I said, okay, fine. Okay, I'm just going to pick it because Benson said. And I picked very many medical courses, and then journalism was the last one. Guess which course I was called for? That last one that had no business being in a medic's application form. And somewhere in first year, I remembered, oh wait, at some point I wanted to be Tyra Banks. Yeah, really, I did. I had promised myself at some point in life that I would be Tyra Banks, and here I am. And I love it, and I enjoy it. So I'm going to pick it and run with it. So I did. And in second year, the EFAC, again, Benson believed in me, the EFAC office believed in me, and they asked me, would you want to work for the office for a few months in the communications department? And yes, I did work with Jen for half a year, and I got the experience that I needed, and I realized I actually love this thing, and I'm really, this is what I'm called for. So here I am. I graduated last year with this degree, and all I know is that I want to tell stories for the rest of my life. How? I don't know. Still figuring it out. But I know that my stories need to have impact for the sake of my village, Rare. It's called Rare. For the sake of my village, and for the sake of a child whose story will begin in a village like that. They do deserve a fighting chance. You know, they deserve to go to at least a school that is not smelling of cow dung the whole day. They do deserve to go to a school because not all of them will have a Mr. Mwangi to cycle them to school. And not all of them will have a grandmother to make sure they're okay while they're in school. So for the sake of children whose stories will begin in a village like mine and many others, I know I want to use this storytelling thing to make a difference in those villages specifically. And in education, because I know what I know today. I can dream of what I can dream today because I know better, and I need to do better. I am called to do better. I mean, it's the only way for me to go. Like, there's no option. I need to do better for a child, for a girl. And my village, or rather my villages. It was Rare, and then it was Milimani Primary School, and then it was Naivasha Girls, and most importantly, it was EFAC. Because here, I found someone to hold my hand, I found someone to listen to me, and I found someone who could actually call me out and tell me, no, you're doing the wrong thing. This is what you need to do. And don't think that because every successful person you have ever seen, or you think you have ever seen, is a medic, you need to be a medic. You can just be whatever you want. You can stick to your passion and still be successful and still do all these other things which you want to do. So this is my story. It's not over. I wouldn't say it's a success story yet. I'm still writing it. But now more than ever, I know I will write a better one because I have been empowered enough to be the one holding the pen right now. And I will write mine, and I will make sure one way or the other I become part of another person's story. Thank you.